Come and read more of my works on the website under Yuan. Keywords of the novel. The city of four courtyards is my fault. Without pop-ups, the city of four courtyards is my fault. Download the complete TXT collection, The City of Four Courtyards is My Fault, and read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. The City of Courtyards is My Fault. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. The City of Courtyards is My Fault. Chapter 1. Where am I? Who am I? How long has it been floating? How painful is it? Drifting through countless streets, I came to an open courtyard and saw a family discussing a TV drama together. One said, "Silly Pillar deserves it," while the other said, "Qin Huai Ru is too immoral." It was caused by 7 factors. What is it, oh? Let them have such a heated discussion. I drifted to a student dormitory and saw a beautiful sister watching on a small screen called a computer. How familiar is the scene? I know the people inside. This is my mother, my wife, and my son. What are they doing? For several days in a row, I was by the side of my beautiful sister every day until she saw the whole picture. I knew my name was Jia Dongxiu. I died and couldn't be reincarnated, drifting for many years. I was angry. Why should I die? If I didn't die, my family wouldn't suffer so much. They would scold me. Shrew, White Lotus, White-Eyed Wolf, it's all my fault. I don't want to die, I can't die, I don't want to die, I don't care, I don't care. Oh my goodness. I haven't lived enough yet. This scene was seen by the black and white twin demons wandering in the darkness. The two of them finished staring at each other. What should they do? He will be reincarnated in a few more years. What should we do? Let's discuss with him and cover up our mistakes. We'll have to lose our precious treasure again. This job is too difficult. So after discussing with Shuangsha, I returned with the memories of all these years and had a small courtyard space. I opened my eyes and saw my wife Qin Huairu, son, mother, daughter. This family is too poor. As usual, wake up, go to the bathroom, wash, eat, and go to work. Wait a moment, I can't go to work today. What should I do? I am still very clever when it comes to taking leave and having a stomachache. Oh my stomach hurts so much, it's killing me. Huairu, go talk to my master and ask for leave. I need to go to the hospital for a check. Up. Qin Huairu said, Dongxiu, are you feeling better? I told an old man that I will go to the hospital with you for a check. Up later. Go to the hospital for a check. Up. Don't spend money. If you don't work a day, you'll lose one day's money. Jia Zhang muttered. Jia Dongxiu pretended not to hear and saw that everyone at work had left. Jia Dongxiu lay on the bed, closed his eyes, and quickly entered the space to take a look. With a sudden movement of his mind, he entered a small courtyard, 2 large rooms, a kitchen, a warehouse, a chicken house, a duck shed, and a small vegetable garden. I always felt strange and something was wrong. I left first, so I went back to bed, got up, said to my wife, and went to the street, pretending to go to the hospital for a check. Up. Strolling down the street, looking east and west, with $1.80 in my pocket, I dare not spend it. Seed shop. Wait a moment and find out that there's something wrong with the space. Go in and buy some rice and wheat seeds. Find a deserted place to sneak into the space, use the tools in that space to plant half of the wheat and half of the rice, and then come out. I went to the bookstore and bought a beginner's manual on fitter skills, which was made up by someone else, and went home. I made up a lie at home, read it, spent 3 cents, bought medicine, and now it doesn't hurt anymore. How can we solve the problem with chicken seedlings? Sigh. During these difficult days, a Jia family meeting was held. Mom, Huairu, our family's life is too difficult. What should we do? Qin Huairu. Dongxiu, I listen to you. Jia Zhangshi. Dongxiu, you are the pillar of the family. Mom listens to you. Jia Dongxiu. That's what I think. I'll learn my skills well and upgrade early. Huiru, I'm begging my master to find a temporary worker for her. Mom, you take care of the child. Also, Huiru, you're pregnant. You'll go home tomorrow and buy some chicks to raise for postpartum food. Qin Huiru immediately smiled, feeling happy that it was still my man thinking of me. Jia Zhang said, marrying a daughter.in.law and forgetting one's mother is like a white-eyed wolf. Qin Huiru cooks. Mom, Huiru, I want to let Huiru get an intrauterine device, IUD, after she gives birth to this child. 3 of them will be enough for our family. Jia Zhang said, if this is a kid, go ahead. The girl still needs to make a movie. Let's talk about it later if it doesn't make sense. At this moment, Kanji returned and said, is the food ready yet? I'm hungry. After returning to work one after another, an old man came back with a dark face and shouted directly, Dongshu, come here. I came out and said, Master, what's up? Yi Zhonghai said, Dongshu, there was an accident. Zhen Dongshu died. Didn't you go up today? He said he used your lathe to turn every piece. I don't know why the lathe turned over. I smashed it to death, but fortunately you didn't go to work. Jia Dongshu thought to himself, this time the double shot is hooked correctly. Master, I have a great fortune. Go on the side, turn around and slip the stick back. Have you finished writing your homework? Not yet. If you haven't written it yet, just play and write it now. Bangji dared not resist the wilting entry into the house. Jia Dongshu also entered the house and sat next to Bangam, taking out the book he had just bought and looking at its stick meme. Dad, do you still use learning? Jia Dongshu said, well, even if my dad has a low education, he can't even get into a higher position when he's old. Stick meme. I study hard. Jia Dongshu touched the head of the stick meme and said, good son. Dinner was as usual. Corn flour was sticky, and corn flour, sorghum flour, and 2 combined noodles, steamed buns, and pickled vegetables were eaten with sticks and small stems pouting. Huiru, you should stay a few more days when you go back. If you have 200 eggs, please let me know. When you come back, I will pick you up. Later, I will ask Silly Pillar about the price in the cafeteria. Qin Huiru and Jia Zhang quickly exchanged a glance and smiled tacitly. Stick meme Xiao Dang shouted, eat eggs, eat eggs. After finishing his meal, Jia Dongshu stepped onto the bed and realized that he had entered the space. He saw the green seedlings cracking open and his mouth was filled with joy. It was a great day to be alive, even though I didn't eat well or dress well, my presence was strong. Chapter 2 In the blink of an eye, a month had passed, and Jia Dongshu brought back 4 chicks from Qin Huiru, leaving only 4. He set up a nest at the foot of the yard and let Bang Gung catch bugs and feed the chicks. He promised to lay eggs for the chicks to eat. The chicks in the space grew much faster than those outside. 200 eggs, 10 were given to Yi Zhonghai, and his family only kept 10. The remaining 180 were all sold by Qin Huiru to Silly Zhu in the factory, to find a way for Qin Huiru to make money. Yi Zhonghai's family, an aunt's family, ate gada noodles in soup today, beat an egg, and ate delicious food. She boasted that Dongshu has become more and more stable these days. If this goes on like this, there is great hope for this year's promotion. Do you still know how to be filial to us, Aunt One? I heard Huiru say she wants to find a job for her when she gives birth. Yi Zhonghai said, you have to find it, otherwise it would be difficult for a whole family to just eat cornmeal. Aunt E. Buying high-priced grains is expensive. Yi Zhonghai said, turn around and send some of our remaining stick noodles to her house. Yen Fugue's family, the 3rd aunt. Old Yen, haven't you noticed that Jia Dongshu has changed recently? Yen Fugue. There are dead people in the factory, they are so scared. Lu Haizhong. Jia Dongshu is too timid. 2nd aunt. Who is not afraid of death? Chapter 3 Jia Dongxiu looked at Qin Huairu and thought about finding a beautiful wife and a job. Those who have little contact with men are not allowed to enter the factory. There are many men in the factory that cannot be controlled, and there is also the color blank of Deputy Factory Director Li who cannot enter the factory. I don't want to, anyway, there are still a few months before we have a child. In the yard, it always feels strange to silly Zhu. This time, giving him a good wife can be considered compensation. So he said to Qin Huairu, "How old is your daughter? In law Jingru. What's wrong? I want to tell silly Zhu. Jingru is a little too young, isn't she? Next time, bring Jingru here, not just introduce her, just come and play." Okay. In the morning, Jia Dongxiu and Yi Zhonghai were walking on their way to work. "Master, I want to find a job for Huairu. I'm not familiar with the street office, can you help me ask?" It's not easy to find a job, Huairu is not a city household registration. Let's do a temporary job first. It's also difficult to find a temporary job. Let's slowly search for the cardboard box. Master, you're tired. Get out. Thank you, Master. Yi Zhonghai smiled, and Dong Su grew up like a man. In the cafeteria of the steel rolling mill, silly Zhu saw Su Dumao shaking his spoon as usual. Seeing the dishes in the lunchbox, Su Dumao's face turned black. He walked up to Yi Zhonghai and Jia Dongxiu and said, "Grandpa, Dongxiu, look at how foolish Zhu is bullying people." He glanced at them and said, "Next time, I'll talk to him." Jia Dongxiu glanced at them and said, "Next time, don't argue with him." "Do I argue with him? Is he compatible?" He left. "Okay, I'll have to shake this time. Master, I have a piece that I can't grasp yet and can't find the reason. Can you show me again? In the afternoon, I'll do it from start to finish, and you can take a good look." "Okay, Master." In the evening, Jia Dongxiu read a book and did homework with a stick meme. "Dad and teacher said I have made progress, okay, my son will score above 80 in the final exam next time. Dad will buy you a big chicken leg, okay, I will definitely have chicken legs, Xiao Dang also wants to eat, tell your brother." Looking at the noisy family, Jia Dongxiu thinks that a beautiful daughter. In law and a lovely child. Drunk, even my mom still likes to make mistakes, sigh. Who made her a mom? Jia Zhang's only nose itches and sneezes. Lying in bed at night, I still consciously entered the space with wheat and rice. After harvesting not more than 2,300 pounds, I used my mind to grind them into noodles. I didn't take too much rice, but I took 3 or 2 pounds of rice noodles at a time. The chickens also started laying eggs, and the chickens in the space bred themselves into a large group. When there were too many eggs, I didn't dare to cook them in the space and quietly gave them to the stick. The relationship between Jia Zhang and Qin Huairu's mother. In law was also much better. Qin Huairu could earn 3 to 4 yuan by making matchboxes every day, and life was like this. In the blink of an eye, the small locust flowers landed and looked very beautiful, like Qin Huairu Jia Zhang. It is said that men are more important than women, but every day they hold on to the scene just to praise others for the beautiful appearance of Huaihua. Jia Dongxiu is also a son and 2 daughters. After Huaihua gave birth, Qin Huairu went to the streets to clean the streets. Although it didn't sound good, a monthly income of 15 yuan was not small. Coupled with Jia Dongxiu's salary, the Jia family was also a wealthy family in the yard. Oh, by the way, Jia Dongxiu was a 4th-level worker and had to use his mind to go into the space every day to collect eggs and plant land. He would buy eggs, rice, and noodles twice a month, occasionally selling a few chickens. He would go to several wealthy old ladies on Sundays and sell the money to save in the space. One day, Qin Huairu went to the factory to look for Jia Dongxiu. Aunt Yang, who was sweeping the streets with me, wanted to sell her job to her daughter. In law and son to take care of their children and asked if she wanted to buy it. Good thing. How much does it cost? I think 400 yuan is a bit expensive. Others think it's expensive, but our family doesn't think it's expensive. Look, if you have a job, your household registration will go to the city. They already have grain, so our family can buy less or not buy high-priced grain. Qin Huairu's eyes were bright, and she said, then I am truly a city person, right? I feel like I'm trembling when I think about it. Life is getting better and better. Due to the Jia family raising 2 laying hens, people often go over to borrow too. Jia Dongxiu asked Qin Huairu and Jia Zhang to keep track of the accounts of the sticks at night, and some even exchanged tickets for more. In short, no one dares to owe Jia Zhang. Due to the good food, Jia Dongxiu looks at them every day, and the sticks are also obedient. Jia Zhang's combativeness is not to be overshadowed by busyness. She cooks and looks at the children every day, feeds chickens, and pastes paper boxes around. Qin Huairu sweeps the streets in the morning, washes clothes in the afternoon, and pastes paper boxes without touching the ground. As she crosses over, she becomes more and more busy. Qi and spirit, the money for pasting cardboard boxes is saved by Jia Zhang. With the money in hand, the person's confidence is sufficient, and their mood improves. Speaking of which, the person who has changed the most is Jia Zhang. When coaxing children, she carried Huaihua Jing to crowded places, praising Dongxiu Huairu for her filial piety in earning a lot of money. She was smart and sensible, and she was sure to become a high-ranking official in the future. When Xiaodang Huaihua was beautiful and found a good husband's family, everyone scattered at the sight of her, and she didn't feel like she was too lazy. The famous scene, the meme of stealing chickens, the Jia Zhang family's throwing, the summoning of souls, the Qin Huairu and other boxed meals are pitifully gone. Yi Zhonghai and his wife are very satisfied with Jia Dongxiu and his wife. Some people have also let go of the burden in their elderly care, and Jia Dongxiu is also filial and always sends his children a bowl of good food. With a better mentality, people are also much younger. Su Damao still married Lu Xiaoyi and kept stimulating Sili Zhu. Sili Zhu and Qin Jingru also obtained a certificate after being engaged for 3 years. The confidentiality work was done well and Su Damao was not given the opportunity to cause damage. Chapter 4 In the blink of an eye, in the 1970s, Bang Gung graduated from high school and clamored to go to the countryside. Mom, all of our classmates are going to the countryside. They don't have jobs when they go to the countryside. You're not allowed to go. Mom gave you the job. I'm not going to sweep the streets. Dad gave you the job. Upon hearing the news, Yi Zhonghai walked in and said, Dongxiu, I'm giving up my job to Bang Gung. It's just that I've reached retirement age. He's so embarrassed. What are you saying? Dongxiu is giving us retirement, and we're just a family. Finally, Bang Gung took over from an old man. Everyone actually knows that the stick meme doesn't want to go to the countryside, it's just a good face. I'm sorry to say that it's already just give everyone a step, perfect. Chapter 4 Bongan went to work as a laborer in the steel rolling cafeteria, which was his own request. He had been delicious since childhood and hoped to eat delicious food and drink spicy food every day like his little uncle, Silly Pillar. Silly Pillar talked to people and, coupled with the shortage of people in the cafeteria, entered the cafeteria, asking him to worship Silly Pillar as his teacher. Since his marriage to Qin Jingru, Silly Zhu has become less smelly. With 2 children, he has been promoted to the position of cafeteria director. Every day, his wife and children warm up their beds, and they live a comfortable life. The relationship between the 2 families is so good that I envy many people in the courtyard, especially during the Chinese New Year when there are several families together, and there is a chef in charge. The fragrance wafts throughout the courtyard, making the dishes at home tasteless and tasteless. At night, Jia Dongxiu and Qin Huairu were whispering under the covers, Huairu, you said that our stick meme is not small anymore, and we're already on duty. It seems like we should be talking about our daughter.in.law. We can't let our daughter.in.law and stick meme stay in my master's small miscellaneous room anymore. So why don't we move in and give them the big house? Where does that mom live? Although it's separated by a board, it's not soundproof. Do you still want to hold a grandson? Besides, the house where Xiaodang and Huaihua live in the rain won't last long, and their children are also big. It's possible that they will have to live in the rain one day. Go back. But now houses are tight everywhere. I'll think about it tomorrow. The next day, Jia Dongxiu found the logistics department and asked about the situation. The answer he gave was, there is no room to live in, so he can find a way to build it in the courtyard himself. Returning home, Jia Dongxiu wandered around in the yard and came up with an idea when he arrived at the entrance of the backyard wall, which was blocked. He brought a ladder and stood up to take a look. The yard was covered in weeds and there were a few lonely houses, only the roof was visible. There were also several walls next to them that could not be called houses. He got off the ladder and went back home, saying, "Mom, Huiru. I just looked at the small courtyard that was sealed off in the backyard, and the houses are no longer habitable. I want to find a street to buy them. If we can't live anymore, we still have to buy," Jia Zhang shouted. "Mom, Huiru, that's what I think. The children are all grown up, so we can't always live in other people's houses. There are no houses in the factory, and it's too crowded to build in the yard. Besides, a few years ago, someone wanted to build a yard, but they didn't pass the meeting. We have to make it difficult for my master to do. If we can buy that yard, we won't save money to build it." Jia Zhang pouted. Dao, with her son worrying, she doesn't worry much anymore. "Huiru, you can first inquire tomorrow about whose yard it belongs to. Let's talk about our family's difficulties in front of the director again. What if there is still a house on the street? You are so popular on the street, please help." Jia Dongxiu is quite confident in his wife's ability. Half a month later, the Jia family bought the backyard, which was not large but had 7 rooms. As the house could not be occupied, they only spent 200 yuan to buy a place. They secretly gave 2 big fat hens to Director Wang of the street office as gifts from relatives. With the house certificate, Jia Dongxiu was excited for several days. Su Dumao disdainfully said, "I bought a horse shed, but I don't know who I am anymore." He was right. The small courtyard that Jia Dongxiu bought was the house where the horse farmers used to live, but it was in disrepair for several decades. When they were young, they even went inside to catch crickets. Later, they were afraid of snakes inside, so they blocked the door. Jia Dongxiu sat at Yi Zhonghai's house. "Master, what's up?" Jia Dongxiu licked his lips. "Master, you know, I bought a backyard and wanted to build a house for Bang Gung to get married." Yi Zhonghai thought to himself, "Is this borrowing money? But I don't know who to look for, and I would like to ask the master to help me inquire about finding a good master. In addition, I also want to ask the master to keep an eye on it." Yi Zhonghai. "Just don't borrow money, is not a problem, you can leave this matter to me. Once you found it, I'll bring it to you. You can discuss it with them. This is a big deal." After Jia Dongxiu left, an old lady came in and said, "What's Dongxiu here for?" "Dongxiu wanted to build a house and asked me to find a craftsman for him. I was thinking about asking Lao Lu if he had good craftsmanship, but when he got old, I didn't know if his sons would take on the job." Jia Dongxiu built a house. Although his family is considered wealthy in the courtyard, Jia Dongxiu has quietly sold eggs in the small courtyard and saved tens of thousands of yuan for chicken and grain in the past decade. However, he is timid, cherishes his life, and is afraid of space being discovered. He has never dared to use the money in the space. He firmly believes that there is no extra money for a small heart. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. The City of Courtyards is My Fault. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The City of Courtyards is My Fault. Chapter 5. How much money is there at home? How to build this room? Jia Dongxiu hesitated for several days. Qin Huairu and Jia Zhang both looked at her without asking, "Mom, how much money does Huairu have in our family?" Jia Zhang lowered her head and pretended to be a quail. Qin Huairu said, "We still have 400. Jia Dongxiu stared, "How much?" 700. The guy squinted. 300 at once. Jia Zhang raised her hand and gave Qin Huairu a tease. "The unscrupulous little slut is eating and drinking from my house, and even counting on my family. Old Jia, hurry up and take her away." Jia Zhang slapped her thigh and opened her posture, preparing to become a wealthy man. Jia Dongxiu covered her mouth and said, "Have you had enough good days? Do you want someone to take you to clean the toilet?" After seeing that Jia Zhang stopped making a fuss, Jia Dongxiu let go. Jia Dongxiu knew that Qin Huairu wanted to keep private money and also knew that she had been helping her family a lot over the years. It was not easy for everyone. What could he do? "I'll borrow from the factory in the yard and start building the collapsed house. If it doesn't collapse, I'll take it slow. What do you think?" The two nodded together. Jia Zhang went to feed the chickens with a bitter face, and in the future, he will have to rely on eating an egg to satisfy his craving. "Senior brother, what are you busy with?" "Dongxiu. What's going on? Let's talk about it." "It's like this child is old and should marry a wife. I'm thinking about building a house for him. Isn't it important to borrow some money from my senior brother? I have 30 yuan here." So this family raised 300 yuan out of 10 yuan and that family raised 5 yuan, and everyone knows about the Jia family borrowing money to build a house. Jia Dongxiu and Master Lu from Zhonghai discussed several times and agreed to have Master Lu's children cover the labor and materials. On the day the house was built, Jia Dongxiu killed all the old hens he raised at home, and secretly brought 2 of them from the space for Silly Zhu to braise. He also added more than half a bag of potatoes, which was called a fragrant dish. The greedy adults and children in the courtyard were swallowing their saliva hard. Jia Dongxiu asked Bang Gengshao to give a bowl of meat to each family borrowing money in the courtyard, causing Jia Zhang to feel heartbroken and scold the spendthrift at home. The house has been built, and the Jia family goes to the backyard every day to tidy up, pull grass, and plow the land. The Jia Zhang family and Qin Huairu are all from the countryside, and they can farm half of the land, half of the vegetables, and half of the corn. The Jia family has been living a very prosperous life these days. Bang Ji follows Silly Zhu to learn how to cook. Sometimes, Silly Zhu takes on external work and also brings him along, which makes him open-minded. He idolizes Silly Zhu and secretly practices cooking at home every day, taking care of the cooking work at home. Bang Yu follows Sa Zhu every day. The little uncle is long and the little uncle is short. He looks at Sa Zhu with little stars all over his eyes. Sa Zhu is especially useful and he teaches with great care, "Your shredded potatoes taste great, little uncle. I can eat 2 more mantou with your sour cabbage." The little uncle's posture of shaking the spoon is very handsome. Ma Hua patted the fat man and shook his head. "Fat man. One generation is stronger than another. This situation repeats every day. At home, brother, I beg you to stop cooking, Xiaodang. If you practice more, you can only taste delicious." Practicing Xiaodang Huaihua takes noodle mantou to either Yamama's house or Sanju's house. Not to mention that after a period of time, my cooking skills have improved, and I am proud to say, who taught me. Silly Zhu, Su Damao, and his enemies often engage in fights and quarrels. Every time, Silly Zhu triumphs with one sentence. "My children are both safe, you are." Looking at Silly Zhu's happy family, Jia Dongxiu no longer feels any guilt. Looking at Qin Huairu's slightly wrinkled face, he thinks to himself, "Fortunately, I'm back. The person I call again, because of my existence, has not become the person everyone hates in TV dramas. I'm back and it's worth it." End of this chapter. Chapter 3. The city of Courtyards is my fault. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. The City of Courtyards is My Fault. Chapter 1. Rainwater moved for a moment and heard familiar voices in his ear, such as, "Rainwater, you wake up, are you hungry?" and Rainwater heard her cute voice, but she didn't dare to open her eyes. What's the situation? She closed her eyes. The voice just now was from Silly Brother, isn't he dead? Su Damao and I collected the corpse for him. Here is a mantu for you. We slowly opened our eyes and saw the young Hiyuju's face. His eyes were full of concern and love. Hiyuju was finally determined and she was reborn. Looking at his small hands and feet, Rainy took mantu and bit it. He asked, "Where is it, brother?" "This is Baocheng. We came to find Dad, but we didn't see him. You cried and fell asleep, so we'll go back to the 49th city." Listening to his brother's words, Rainwater's thoughts slowly came to mind. This was how she and her brother went back in their past lives, starting a life of being calculated and vampired. In this life, we must not let our brother repeat his tragedy. In the previous life, it was all our own fault. We helped Zhou to become cruel and helped Qin Huairu. We only regretted seeing our brother freeze to death. That was raising our own brother. I was wrong, completely wrong, unforgivable. Fortunately, God gave me this opportunity, and this time I must not be wrong again. Hiyuju handed him half of the mantu he had left. Hiyuju took 3 or 2 bites and ate it. "Brother, we can't go like this. We have to ask our father for money, and we can't make it cheaper, and buy." Although the name of Silly Pillar is silly, he is not stupid at all. He turned his eyes and nodded, "We can't make it cheaper for outsiders." Carrying Hiyuju, he walked to the police station noisily. "Police uncle, my father doesn't care about us, what should we do?" "Look for a unit, or the street office, thank you, uncle." In the street office, Hiyuju and the street office director told us about the situation at home. Seeing his father's wish, the director gave him pertinent advice and contacted Hidaching. Rainwater kept crying with him all the way. "Dad, you can't ignore us." "Why don't you ignore us? Don't you work in the factory?" "I became a full-fledged apprentice, and I became independent when I was as old as you. The house is for you, and I send another 10 yuan to Rainwater every month, which is enough for you to save money. Dad, you are not afraid that we will be bullied. I ask your uncle to take care of you, and I send money to your uncle for him to hand over to you." "I don't want it, money can't be given to an old man," Rainwater exclaimed loudly. Okay, mail it to your brother. You still need to go back to see me often. I don't want people to say we are children that Dad doesn't want us to be." Rainwater said wrongly, Okay, listen to you." Hidaching comforted and listened to Hidaching's assurance. Hiyuju followed him a lot. "Dad, I and Rainwater are your biological ones. Think about yourself more, and if Bai's child is not good to you in the future, go back." Hidaching's tears streamed out. On the way back, Hiyuju was carrying Rainwater on his back. Rainwater hugged Hiyuju's neck and said, "Brother, I knew Dad still had us in his heart. Let's see if you can. Brother told you a secret. I had a dream in front of me that it wasn't Dad who didn't want to see us, it was Aunt Bai who didn't allow us. What else did I dream of?" Hiyuju teased Rainwater and said, actually, he didn't believe what Rainwater said. But this trip to protect the city was not in vain, at least it freed the knot in his and Rainwater's hearts. "I also dreamt that an old man took the money his father sent us and didn't give it to us. So you don't want my father to send it to an old man?" Hiyuju rolled his eyes and said, "Rainwater, what do you dream of next time? Can you tell me?" Tell me, brother, don't laugh at me." Brother, don't laugh." End of this chapter. Chapter 4. The City of Courtyards is My Fault. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. The city of courtyards is my fault. Chapter 2. Returning home, he usually washed his feet with rainwater and placed them on the bed. Thinking about the words of rainwater, he usually began to ponder why rainwater could say that. Could it be my mother's dream of reminding me through rainwater? Otherwise, I would just come back according to my own temperament and not go back again. In the future, I need to ask more about rainwater. Have you dreamed of rain at night? No. Have you dreamed of rain in the past few days? I dreamt that Jia Dongshu had died. You gave the lunchbox to Qin's family every day, and their whole family ate your lunchbox and scolded you as a big fool. Don't tell anyone else not to let their family hear you, he usually said in a low voice, covering Rainwater's mouth. Brother, you can't like Qin Jia. She will deceive you. Little girl, do you know what you like in movies? Although he said that, he usually still warned him to watch Qin Jia less in the future. Rainwater goes to school, and he usually goes to work. Every morning, he usually finishes breakfast for Rainwater and his brothers finish their meals. He sends Rainwater to school and then goes to work. At noon, Rainwater goes to the factory to find a cafeteria for dinner, which is approved by the cafeteria director. Dinner is usually prepared, and sometimes he brings a bowl to the deaf old lady in the backyard. He also asks her to help watch some Rainwater. In the class, Rainwater meets his good friend Yu Haitang from a previous life, and the two little girls become good friends and classmates just like in their previous life. He usually loves the rain very much. Every day, Rainwater carries sugar snacks in his pocket and eats them with Yu Haitang at school. Although it is a difficult time, Rainwater eats them chubby and not hungry at all. One day, there was a lot of crying in the yard. Jia Dongshu had died, and he usually was shocked. He thought to himself, my sister's dream is true. I can't give Qin a lunchbox. I won't be a big fool. A few days later, Grandpa Zhu asked you something. What's up? Zhu, you see that your Dongshu brother has left. Your Qin sister's family is an orphan and widowed mother, and your Qin sister is pregnant with a child and needs nutrition. Can you give your lunchbox to Qin's sister to help their family? He usually heard that this was just like what Rainwater dreamed of. When I gave you a lunchbox, I was a big fool. Grandpa, it's hard for me. It's not easy for me to raise Rainwater alone. It's only through my salary and lunchbox that I can support me and Rainwater. He gave the lunchbox to Qin. What should I do with the rain, sister? He usually made up his mind not to give it. In the evening, a notice was given for the meeting, and one of the gentlemen was sitting on both sides of the middle and two gentlemen's seats. Today's meeting is mainly about the difficult life of the Jia family after the death of Dong Su. I hope everyone can help the Jia family through this difficult time. We need to help each other between neighbors, and we cannot be like some people who are selfish and only care about ourselves. He usually said, hey, is this referring to me? Speak up, I won't give it. When Rainwater and I were hungry, the Jia family didn't help us either. You're a master, so if you don't help me, let me help you. Donate money to the Jia family, and we'll make it into a civilized quadrangle. He usually took out $1 and handed it to the third uncle. Yi Zhonghai opened his mouth and closed it again, and the deaf old lady in the silly pillar kept it safe. He Yushui leaned over He Yushu's ear and bit his ear. Yu Haitang in our class is so beautiful. How much money have you saved, brother? Don't be enough to pick up my sister. Law. Watching his brothers gaze at Qin Huairu every day, Rain decided to help He Yushu find a wife as soon as possible. Haitang, do you want to eat something delicious? Think. Do you want to eat my brother's stir-fried food? Do you want to stay at my house and eat my brother's stir-fried food? What do you mean? I don't have much interest in asking your sister to be my sister. Law so that you can stay at my house and eat my brother's stir-fried food. We can go to school and play together. You go back and ask your sister. I've been to my house, and my brother's head chef at a steel rolling mill earns 37.5 yuan. I usually cook for people and earn income. I don't want to give someone a discount, but your sister should be willing to let them see you. I'll go back and ask. Yu Haitang's family conditions are not good. His mother is sick, his father works alone, and his sister takes care of his mother at home. He has good conditions and is not only beautiful, but also tall. Since childhood, he envied Rainwater's ability to eat delicious food. When he returned home, he told his parents and sister about Rainwater's words. She still knows about Rainwater's family. Rainwater Haitang has been classmates for 4 or 5 years and knows the root of the matter. Yu's family basically agreed to meet him. Haitang asked Rainwater if he is serious about asking them to find a matchmaker to propose to him. Okay, Mom, I stay at Rainwater's house tonight. Rain, I want to eat well at night. Seeing Yu Haitang's demeanor, Rainwater didn't realize it. Tell me about your foolish intentions. Our family agreed to look at each other and let you find a matchmaker. In the evening, Yu returned and made stir-fried potato shreds and scrambled eggs for Rainwater and Yu Haitang. Yu Haitang squinted his eyes with satisfaction and said, Brother Zhu, it's really delicious, thinking that he could eat more delicious food in the future. Brother, it's going to be done in secret. You know there are many people in the courtyard who can't see us well. Got it. What is silly Zhu busy with? I can't even see you. Yan Bugue stood at the entrance of the courtyard and asked, busy. Yan Bugue looked at silly Zhu, who was busy all day. This silly Zhu probably went to cook for someone again. Isn't that right? Are you still dressed so well for cooking? End of this chapter. Chapter 5. The City of Courtyards is my fault. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. The City of Courtyards is my fault. Chapter 3. These 2 days, rainy brother and sister, can only be described in one word, that is busy doing things for Hiyuju, spending all the cloth tickets to make clothes, went to the barber shop to cut hair and shave, and invited matchmaker Li to make matchmaking. Yes, Hiyuju and Rainy knocked on Mrs. Li's house with 2 jin of peach cakes bought with dim sum tickets at the supply and marketing agency that day. Hello Grandma Li, my name is Hiyuju and I live at number 95 Nanluoga Lane. This is my brother Hiyuju. Let me think about it. After a moment of contemplation, Grandma Li remembered, there are several young men in your yard. Rainwater thought to herself, what's your brother's name? Hiyuju. There's no one named Hiyuju. There's someone named Silly Zhu, Su Damao, Lu Guangtian. Rainwater quickly interrupted Grandma Li, Granny Li, my brother's name is Silly Zhu. Granny Li glanced up and down at Hiyuju. You don't look foolish, do you? Granny Li, my brother's name is not Silly. It was just a childhood joke that everyone used to call him Silly. If he were foolish, my brother could become a chef. He could work in a steel rolling mill. Can he raise me so big? Granny Li listened to Hiyuju and asked him all he needed to know. Grandma Li, I would like to ask you to introduce my brother and my classmate Yu Haitang and her sister Yu Li. They agreed to meet and hope to verify each other as soon as possible, said Rainwater, handing 2 yuan to Grandma Li. Also, I hope Grandma Li doesn't tell the people in our yard that Sister Yu Li is beautiful and I'm afraid someone else will cut off her beard. Grandma Li looked at the money in her hand and felt happy. Don't worry, I'll give you this kiss. On Sunday, Rainwater led Hiyuju's matchmaker to Yu Li's house. Hiyuju carried cigarettes, alcohol, tea, and candies and went to Yu Li's house. When he saw Yu Li and Hiyuju, he was satisfied. Yu Li saw the silly Hiyuju and thought of taking care of the house as soon as he entered. There was no father-in-law, only one sister-in-law who was already 14 years old. He got married in 4 to 5 years, and there were 2 main rooms. The cook was still eating well, so satisfied. After several encounters, on a sunny day, the 2 of them received the certificate. On the day of returning to the courtyard, Yan Bugue was still at the entrance of the courtyard. When he saw Shaju leading a young girl in, he asked, Shaju, who is this? Your partner. Third master, please listen carefully. This is my wife, and I have obtained the certificate. Shaju held a marriage certificate, which is a marriage certificate, and asked Yen Bugue Yang. After finishing his sentence, he led Yuli into the courtyard. Yen Bugue entered the room with a tsk and said to the third aunt, what a great girl to be paired with a silly pillar. I didn't know earlier, but I knew it would be great to introduce her to Jiecheng. He slapped his thigh and forgot to ask when he would treat her. In the middle courtyard, Yuli saw 2 large rooms, and she felt comfortable. My daughter.in.law, it's the final say how to clean you up, she said, taking out a wooden box from under the bed and giving it to Yuli. This is all our money for you. Yuli was more satisfied. My daughter.in.law, please sit down and I will cook. In the evening, Rainwater came back to know that they had obtained the certificate today and told Yuli, my sister.in.law should take care of my brother's money and not let him lend it to others, especially the Qin Huai-Ru family. Her family only borrows money and does not repay it. Yen Bugue, the third master in the front yard, works as a teacher at Red Star Elementary School. He is stingy and always thinks of taking advantage of small things. Even a single onion is good, and taking advantage of them is not enough. The Jia family in the middle courtyard is also Qin's family, and her family cannot afford to provoke him. As he spoke, he exclaimed, there is also an old man who is an 8th-level fitter in the factory, leaning towards the Jia family. Su Damao and my brother have been fighting since childhood in the backyard. The second old man loves to beat children when he has nothing to do. The deaf old lady treated me and my brother very well after my father left, and when he cooked delicious food, my brother would send her some, and everyone else would be okay. Rainwater, bring the food. Grandma, this is your granddaughter.in.law Yuli. Good, good, good. The deaf old lady looked at Yuli and said, good, good. Who is Yuli? She is a strong woman, as long as she has money, nothing is a problem. Please have a good master clean up the house in 2 days. There is nothing in the courtyard that does not praise the young daughter. In.law's ability. The house is clean both inside and outside, and 2 tables of silly pillars are set up on Sunday. If there is a meal invitation at night, Yuli will wait for Silly Zhu to come back, and Silly Zhu will feel the warmth of home. Smart Yuli found that she couldn't eat good food, especially meat, in the yard. The children in the yard were drooling at your doorstep and smelling the fragrance. Some children would cry and roll around greedily. At this time, Qin Huairu would bring a big bowl to borrow meat, cry for poverty, and sell pitifully. Fortunately, the rain woke her up. Yuli still goes back to her mother's house every day. Her mother is sick, and she doesn't feel at ease if she doesn't go back. She goes back to cook and then comes back after finishing her meal. Now that she has money in her hand, she can give her mother an egg every day, and gradually her body will recover. Nowadays, people's illnesses are mostly caused by malnutrition. Sometimes, she also buys some steamed meat buns and secretly takes them back to eat. She is foolish and doesn't care how money is spent. Chapter 4 This Saturday, Rain came back and rushed to Silly Zhu, saying, brother, come here. What's up? You come over. Silly Zhu followed Rain into the cabin, and Rainwater whispered, brother, I had another dream last night. I dreamt that Su Damao's family had lost a chicken, but you happened to bring back half of it from the factory. I can't explain clearly. It was treated as a thief and I couldn't lift my head. Don't bring the chicken back, remember. Okay, I won't take it. At this moment, Su Damao pushed himself in, and as expected, there were 2 hens hanging on the handlebars. Do you have these 2 hens from the villagers, Silly Pillar? Looking at the cheap Su Damao, Silly Pillar rolled his eyes and ignored him. This is what Rain taught him, showing disdain. In the cafeteria, Yuzhu was preparing a dinner for the evening when he saw a little boy in the corner pouring soy sauce into a small bottle. It was Qin Widow's stick. and he picked up a rolling pin and shouted, "Catch, thief." As soon as the stick was caught, it turned around and ran away. Silly Zhu threw the rolling pin in his hand and hit Su Damao, who had just entered the door. After preparing the meal, Silly Zhu tidied up and prepared to go home. Ma Hua handed over the lunchbox, and when Silly Zhu opened it, he saw half a chicken. He remembered his promise to his sister and said, "Take this lunch box back and let the family see the meat." Ma Hua was so moved that he almost shed tears, thinking to himself that his master still loved me. Silly Zhu walked back leisurely, smelling the aroma of meat. As he walked over, he saw that Bang Ji was eating chicken with his two younger sisters here. Now he knew why Bang Ji stole soy sauce and why his sister didn't let him bring chicken home. Thinking about my younger sister's return tonight, I turned my feet and walked towards the market. I bought 2 tube bones and went home to cook soup. I couldn't do this, only this one. When I got home, I put the tube bones in the pot. If Yuli doesn't come back tonight, let's see if there are any more steamed buns left. I'll eat noodles later when I finish the 2 tube bones. Qin Huiru is still washing clothes as usual. The big guy must be thinking, there are so many clothes to wash there, not to mention it. The 3 children are washing clothes. Every day, they are mud monkeys, and at home, Jia Zhang often rolls around. Qin Huiru usually only has this little time after work when Su Damao comes back. Qin Jia is washing. Damao is back, and I'm back, little goose. Why are you still lying there? I'm not feeling well today, I'll lie down for a while. Little goose, why is one less chicken in our house? Who did you give it to? Who didn't give it to? Get up and take a look. There's one left. The 2 of them searched in the yard several times but couldn't find it. Su Damao went to Lu Haizhong's house, and soon Lu Guangfu notified the evening meeting. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. The city of Courtyards is my fault. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The city of Courtyards is my fault. Chapter 5. After dinner, He Yuzhu and He Rainwater watched a great scene. At the beginning of the scene, the second eldest brother in the Bangs said a few opening remarks, and then the first eldest brother flipped over to pay attention to the safety of the door. After knocking everyone over, it was finally determined that it was stolen by someone outside the hospital. Su Damao thought he was unlucky and was about to end the meeting. What did you eat at your house at night? What does it smell like on your body? It's quite fragrant. I don't know, which child asked. Several children gathered around the stick and sniffed the locust flower. Fool, you can't smell it, this is meat. The meat flavor at Uncle Fool's house is so fragrant. It's not as delicious as my brother's fried chicken, Su Damao thought to himself when he heard this and thought of the stick meme stealing soy sauce. Wow! My chicken was stolen by the Jia family, he said. Now Su Damao stopped working and demanded compensation while holding on to the stick meme. Even Jia Zhang's playful moves to replace old Jia were not worth it, and he lost 5 yuan, or at some point. Since marrying Yuli, it has been called contentment and busyness every day. During the day, he is busy working, at night he is busy making small people, on Sundays he is busy earning extra money, and his personality has become more easygoing. Yuli is also busy saving money, not saving enough rain and crabapple dowry, taking care of his own mother, doing laundry and cooking, and fighting wits with the aunties and sister. Law in the courtyard. From the 3 aunties, Jia Zhang, Qin Huiru, to Qin Huiru, one accidentally being taken advantage of, and also to prevent Qin Huiru from pretending to be pitiful and selling miserably in front of He Yuzhu. Silly pillars have a soft heart and are easily deceived. Rainwater siblings returned home and said, "Sister, thank you for listening to me. I didn't bring the chicken home, otherwise I wouldn't be able to explain clearly. I'll have to pay for this money. Not only is accompanying money so simple, but your reputation is also ruined. I'm afraid someone will deduct a stolen worker's property from you and get fired again. Don't take lunch boxes from home this time. Don't let anyone catch you. Listen to you, brother. I want to go back to the factory to work after graduation. Can you help me keep an eye out for it? Okay, Rainwater thought to himself, I need to take good care of this foolish brother this time. There shouldn't be any mistakes. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. The city of Courtyards is my fault. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. The city of Courtyards is my fault. Chapter 6. In the blink of an eye, Rainwater graduated. At this time, there were relatively few high school students, and finding a job would be a priority on the streets. Rainwater was brought up by Silly Zhu to Director Yang, who knew that Silly Zhu had a good relationship with the big leader, so he sold him a face and arranged for finance and accounting. Yu Haitang also entered the publicity department of the steel rolling mill because he was dating Yang's nephew. Both of them entered the factory. The two little girls wore new work clothes with collars and strolled back and forth in the courtyard, making the big guy envious. In fact, in the previous life, she went to the textile factory because she was completely disappointed with Silly Zhu. Only a foolish pillar without anyone to manage would lick her dog all the way. In this life, she must have taken a close look at her foolish brother, even with her sister-in-law Yuli in charge. Qin Huairu often pretended to be pitiful to her brother while Yuli was not around for lunch boxes, and Yuzhu was soft-hearted and couldn't bear her tear attacks. Fortunately, her sister-in-law was clever and guarded against her, and she occasionally reminded her that she didn't succeed. She was quite responsive. Yuzhu returned home, and Yan Bugue stopped him, saying, "Silly pillar, this Rainwater is working. It's a happy thing. You have to treat him. Sandiyi, don't worry, this guest is designated. Sandiyi is waiting." In the previous life, Yuhui found a job in a textile factory and was looking for a police officer. Due to Bang Ji stealing chickens, Yuzhu took over the pot for Bang Ji, and his reputation was bad. He had a thief brother who didn't have a dowry, and his mother-in-law was very unhappy. Let's start over again, and Yuhui doesn't want to step into that house anymore. In this life, she wants to be happy with her brother. The Yen family, looking at their 3 eldest sons, is worried about teacher Yen. He comes from the factory, works at home, sometimes does odd jobs, and sells vegetables every day. He goes to buy piles in the afternoon, saying that he is stingy and not stingy. The eldest should marry his wife, the second and third have not yet worked, and it will be 2 years before they get married. Looking at the wrinkles on his wife's face, Yen Bugue took a big sip of tasteless wine, and the sound of the second eldest hitting the child came from the backyard. Rainwater and Crabapple are in the factory, but they have become famous. The 2 little girls are equally beautiful and full of vitality, and soon became the dream lovers of many young men in the steel rolling mill. Young Wayman was scared to go to the publicity department every day, afraid that someone might accidentally dig a corner, and Yuzhu would become a hot cake. The cafeteria said, "Master does your sister have a partner?" "Brother Zhu, how old is your sister?" "Brother Zhu, what hobbies does your sister have?" All kinds of inquiries, pleasantries, and enjoyment for Silly Zhu were silently observed by one person, go and be my brother-in-law. He thought it was time for him to take action. He could not wait any longer. If he waited any longer, he was afraid that others would beat him to the front. "Brother Zhu, what does the big tiger want?" "Cabbage, 2 mantu." Yuzhu filled them with food and took 2 mantu. "Brother Zhu, I'll find you to drink at night." "Okay, I'll cook 2 good dishes." After dinner, Wang Dahu went to the financial department on the 2nd floor. "Rain, come out." "Big tiger, what do you want from me?" Rain came out and asked. They came to a secluded place. "Rain, I like you, and I've loved you since I was 10 years old." Then they became famous face. Rainy looked at the man in front of him. When he was young, he helped her fight away the child who bullied her and gave her candy. The grown-up brother smiled. Rainy, you like me too, don't you? Rainy, I will treat you well. Rainy had a voice in his heart saying that he was the one who promised him, Big Tiger, I like you too. After saying that, he ran shyly. Wang Dahu. This is agreed. He pinched his thigh. It hurts. It's true. He turned a somersault and ran away. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. The city of Courtyards is my fault. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. The city of Courtyards is my fault. Chapter 7. In the evening, Wang Dahu went to Silly Zhu's house with 2 bottles of wine. The two of them were eating peanuts, drinking wine, chatting, and occasionally stealing glances at the rain. Silly Zhu thought to himself, this kid is interested in rain. As long as this kid has 2 rooms in the front yard, a salary of 33.5 yuan, and looks decent, he belongs to the middle and upper class. There is a mother in the family, who is also a good person. If we marry him, we should have a good life with rain. Besides, living in a courtyard with our own eyes, we won't be at a disadvantage. On the other hand, Wang Dahu was also thinking that we must please Silly Zhu and make him agree to marry me the rain. This wine will be good to drink. With the help of the wine, Wang Dahu must please Silly Zhu and make him agree to marry me the rain. Jean said, Brother Zhu, I have always loved rainwater since I was young. I want to be your brother. Law, please approve. Silly Zhu said, I agree not to do the math, but rainwater agrees. Then Rain, my mom made dumplings and went to my house to eat. Big Tiger brother, will rest tomorrow and go see a movie. 6 months later, Rainwater and Wang Dahu got married and set up 6 tables. The following year, Yuli became pregnant and had a big belly. Yu's mother mentioned that she had moved in before, but fortunately, Li's mother was at home, otherwise the cause is still the Jia family. It's not that Yuli is pregnant and happy with a silly pillar. Someone has to tell anyone, my wife will give birth to a big chubby boy for me right away, and show it everywhere. Li Na is even more obedient, satisfying all kinds of food as much as possible. In addition, her mother-in-law is also here, so try to eat something good. Speaking of this era of oil and meat shortage, which means cooking more oil and water, eating more meat twice, but this makes the cook have to add more fragrant. Let's just treat Jia Zhang's stick meme as if it's a locust blossom craving. Jia Zhang. I cook delicious food every day, but I don't know how to give it to my family. Why not eat it to death? Having a child has no buttocks. Stick meme. Milk, I want to eat meat. Xiao Dang Huaihua. I also want to eat, Jia Zhangshi. Girl, go ahead and have some for my grandson to eat. After finishing her meal that day, Aunt Yu went to the front yard and chatted with Aunt San. While sleeping in Lily's room, she heard the kitchen moving and stood up to take a look. As soon as she arrived at the kitchen door, she came out alone and bumped into Lily, causing her to scream in pain. At this moment, Aunt Yu also came back and saw Bang Ji running out of the house. She thought to herself, how did Bang Ji come out of my house? Upon entering the door, she was overjoyed. She dared to call someone and was rushed to the hospital, where she struggled to give birth to a premature baby. Yuli could no longer have children, and now the two families had a feud. 1 week later, discharged from the hospital. Yuzhu wanted to report to the police, but the 3 elders refused. They said they would solve the problems in the yard themselves. At night, when the meeting was held, Jia Zhang was throwing tantrums and Qin Huiru lowered her head in tears, pretending to be pitiful. You know what's going on in Zhujia's house, and will admit that Bang Ji did something wrong, but my family really doesn't have money. I asked him to kowtow to you. Bang Ji quickly kowtowed to your silly uncle, and Bang Ji knelt down. Rainwater quickly pulled Bang Ji up, and he won't compensate the Jia family. The whole family is a rolling knife meat. In the end, Silly Zhu angrily swore to be strangers to the Jia family in this lifetime. Rainwater hugged two for 3 years, and the 3 children were all together, just like one person. Hiyuju's son is called Hiyoyu, and Rainwater's children are called Wang Iha and Wang Mu. They eat every day, and whoever has a good meal will have it. After the reform and opening up, Yuli and Rainwater pooled money to sell a street-facing shop at the alleyway and turned it into a restaurant. Manager Yuli, Foolish Pillar, and Ma Hua all worked in the kitchen. A few years later, the restaurant turned into a restaurant, and then the restaurant opened a branch, and then, end of this chapter. Chapter 9. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Chapter 1 She woke up, feeling familiar, lying down, not in a hurry. She didn't know how many times this was, and every time she worked hard, trying to live. This time, she also had to work hard until the end of her life. The door was quietly pushed open, feeling like a child. She tiptoed into the bed, her warm little hand gently caressing her face, and her heart warmed. Then the child lay on top of her, hugging her neck, and muttered to herself with her face pressed against her face, "Mom, get better soon. Don't die. As long as you can get better, the pillar won't make you angry anymore. Don't fight with Su Damao, read well. The pillar doesn't want to be a motherless child." As she spoke, she cried and couldn't help but quietly open her eyes to see an 8 or 9-year-old boy. "Mom, you wake up, that's great," the little boy said. Wiping away tears with his sleeve, he stood up and quickly ran out. Yu Shilyan looked around. How poor is she? What kind of home did you get into? A big Kong, 2 boxes at the top of the Kong, and a bowl by the pillow, empty and empty. Shilyan, are you awake? As the words fell, a woman came in, appearing to be in her 20s or 8s, of medium height, with a delicate face. I'm really awake, the pillar didn't lie. She raised her hand and touched her head, it's not burning. I'm hungry. Wait, I'll make you feel a little confused, and then turned around and left. Yu Shilyan felt her body, which was too weak. It took a lot of effort to lift her hand. She touched the bowl and thought to herself, put it away. The bowl was missing, and she felt that the space was still there. She thought to herself, it's not too bad. At that moment, the woman came in with another bowl and sat on the edge of the Kong, feeding and saying, your illness has scared Hidaching and the pillar. Hurry up and get over it. Otherwise, this house would collapse, with little rain. Listening to the woman's chatter, Yu Shilyan suddenly felt something slide in her mind, and so on. It's not like she wore it to the TV drama she watched in the era she wore it last time, right? If so, that would be unbelievable. For now, let's talk less and listen more, or just listen without saying anything. The woman's chatter continued, you're sick. The pillar won't run around, and the rain will be good. Hidaching is going to work again and will exchange medicine for you. What else does this house have? The Jia family next door is hoping for your house to sell. Jia Zhang has been thinking about it for a long time. You can earn some money, hurry up and make her angry. She needs to eat well. I'll go back first, and I'll have to watch the rain. Let the pillar come to compensate you. After finishing the bowl, Hiyuju took off his shoes and climbed onto the Kong. Mom, you're awake, that's great. Yesterday, Su Damao said you were going to die and I was scared. I got into a fight with him and won't fight with him again. Mom, my younger sister is so fun, she can laugh, she just loves to cry, she looks much better than Su Damao's sister. Just now, Auntie said you ate a bowl of batter. I really didn't see that when I was a child, the pillar was still a little warm man. Although this time I wore it, I became a mother, at least not like the last time I wore it, I became a grandmother. This broken body can't hold on anymore, so go to sleep. Just like this, after a few days in a daze, I can wake up a few more times a day, and the time to wake up has also increased. As I watched the improvement day by day, I let go. Only then did Hidaching's heart, which he was carrying, let go. Shilyan, your body has improved, and I don't want to carry the rain to the old Yi's house during the day. Do you think it's okay? I'll prepare the meal in the morning and make the pillar hot at noon. Okay, I can see the rain with the pillar, and it will be fine after the confinement. Yu Shilyan leaned on the Kong, mainly asking for help, but it shouldn't be in vain. These days, all the memories of the original owner in her brain have been remembered. Yu Shilyan was originally a local owner. Miss, she was born to her aunt and attended school for a few years. After the old landlord died, she heard that the old lady was going to sell her. She disguised herself as a man and ran out, unable to find her relatives. When the money ran out, she begged for a living and wandered to the capital. Every day, she picked up garbage and ate at the back door of the restaurant. At that time, Hidaching was an apprentice in the restaurant and saw that he was pitiful. She often gave him food. After a while, she saw that Hidaching was still a little old, but when she didn't get married, she went home with Hidaching and stayed at his house. When Hidaching saw that she had tidied up, the girl was surprised. In addition, Hidaching was also a beauty control, without any parental control, she agreed. After marriage, Hidaching told her to dress more normally because the world was not peaceful, so everyone thought that Yu Shilyan had an average appearance. Only Hidaching knew that his wife was beautiful. Usually, Yu Shilyan helps people wash and repair clothes at home, earning 2 vegetable money. With the pillar, Hidaching became an apprentice, and the family's income gradually increased. With the rain, Yu Shilyan died. Following the plot, Yushu sold steamed buns, Hidaching scolded silly pillars, and then Hidaching went far to Baoqing, married a white widow, and silly pillars licked widows in a steel rolling mill. At that time, when watching the drama, everyone said fundamentally that if silly pillar's mother didn't die, silly pillars wouldn't have had such a life. It was all foolish pillar's mother's fault, and it was also wrong for me to rely on death. However, the time-traveling Yu Shilyan came. This is a turning point, and it has changed. Yu Shilyan's wings have fanned out a different ending. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Chapter 2 Every day, comforting the child, breastfeeding, sleeping, and giving birth, Yu Shilyan's health improved. The rain was very obedient and soothing. Since the pillar hit, Yu Shilyan almost lost her life this time. She was stimulated and very quiet. She obediently helped change the diaper for the rain, took care of the child, and guarded her mother and sister. Hidaching brought back food every day and ate it hot. Nowadays, every household is half full of glutinous rice, and the leftover food brought back by Hidaching was even better than other households, able to mix up 70.8% of the food. In August 1945, the Japanese surrendered, and the streets were in chaos. Hidaching was also dismissed by the Eastern family. After finishing work and staying at home, she wanted to steam and sell steamed buns. Yu Shilyan said, "This is also a way. It's best to find a job and be safe, which will lead to Hidaching's career in selling steamed buns with Hiyuju." Yu Shilyan pulled over the pillar and said, "Pillar, you're a big brother of your parents. You must remember that nothing is important. When selling steamed buns, you must take good care of the money. If you haven't seen any money before, you'd rather not sell it than take it." Hiyuju also instructed Hidaching to steam less. In this world, buying and selling is not easy, so sell it nearby and take less. After selling it, you can go home and pick it up. Hidaching responded one by one. Here. On that day, Yi's sister In-law came to the steel rolling mill to recruit workers in the yard. Yu Shilyan's heart was stirred. Sister In-law, does Yi's brother have a cafeteria in the factory? Do they recruit cooks? Yi Zhonghai's wife teased the little rain while saying, "There is a cafeteria. Lao Yi eats in the cafeteria at noon, and I don't know if they recruit cooks." After selling the steamed buns, Yu Shilyan told Hidaching about the recruitment. He Daqing thought about it and wanted to give it a try. The next day, He Daqing steamed the buns and went to the steel rolling mill. Yu Shilian entrusted the rainwater to Yi's sister-in-law to take care of, and the steamed buns were replaced with Yu Shilian and Zhu. The two of them were at the street corner, selling only 2 drawers at a time and then taking another one. In the evening, He Daqing came back and said he had found a job as a chef at a steel rolling mill with a monthly salary of 670,000 yuan, which was quite a lot. This time, I was lucky to meet the big boss. He used to eat and cook for me before. Coincidentally, the big boss's family loves to eat Tan family dishes, and he asked me to go to his house to cook them when I have time. I will be responsible for entertaining meals at the factory. Let's not steam this steamed bun. Okay, He Daqing returned to work, He Yuzhu went to school, and Yu Shilian comforted her children to do laundry and cook at home. However, every time He Daqing received her salary, Yu Shilian would buy rice and noodles, and the remaining whole money would be exchanged for ocean money. She would buy cornmeal and mixed noodles with change, and then quietly hide them in the space. He Daqing asked her why she did this, and she said, "I'm afraid of hunger. If there's more, I'll feel the ocean is good." Feeling comfortable. He Daqing shook her head and said, "This girl, what Yu Shilian didn't say was that the golden yuan voucher would depreciate. Yu Shilian can now easily take things in and out of the space, but she didn't bring anything in the space. Come here, there is only one bowl in the space, and there is also the money saved by Yu Shilian, as well as cornmeal and miscellaneous noodles. Looking at these things in the space, I can't help but exclaim. Too poor." Every morning, He Daqing punches, and even Zhu wants to learn. He Daqing ignores him, and Yu Shilian takes care of her son's grievances. Yu Shilian says He Daqing is a flower stand, you say I am a flower stand, and you don't even know how to do it. What do I want to know? I can't even beat me. I want to be able to fight. I can fight with you. I want you to do with your surname. I'll listen to you at the head office, right? Calculate. Find a spacious place. Zhu looks after his sister at home. 2 people went to an empty courtyard next to them. Who is Yu Shilian? Wearing it several times, she has become a young lady, a precious gem from a small family, a wandering doctor in the martial arts world, a secret guard of the prince's mansion, and a secretary to the CEO. Although her wealth has not been brought over, her memories have been brought over, and her learned skills have been brought over. When she crossed the hospital, the 2 of them fought against each other and defeated He Daqing with 3 moves and 2 trials. He Daqing was deeply impressed by his wife this time, giving her a thumbs up. This is what you are, wife, and in the future, your family will listen to you. Keep it confidential, everything should be kept low-key. Wife, how could you have such good kung fu? Adventure during begging. He Daqing lowered his head and thought to himself, this is a treasure found. From then on, he has been even more kind to his wife. In 1948, the gold yuan coupon depreciated significantly. The second landlord said that the owner wanted to sell this piece of house, and several households in the yard bought it from the Jia family, Yi family, Yen family, and several others. Some bought 1, while others bought 2. He's the main house in the middle courtyard, which is an ancestral property. Yu Shilian discussed with He Daqing, buy a house for everyone, take advantage of the cheap price, let's buy the small cross courtyard, and when the pillars are big, give her 2 rooms to marry a wife. There are only 2 inverted rooms in the courtyard, and if the yard is big, I'll ask if it's not expensive. It's under your name, quietly, I understand. After saying this, she blinked at Yu Shilian. Lianxin said you don't understand. With such a large courtyard, it will become valuable in the future. So, the He family quietly bought the small cross courtyard. Built a wall, installed a door, and locked it. In the evening, He Daqing and Yu Shilian said, the pillar is not small either. I want him to learn how to cook. Yu Shilian knew that the pillar didn't like to study. If you want to learn how to cook, you also need to read books. Then you should study hard first and then learn how to cook after school. It's too chaotic now, so wait a little longer. Listen to you. On that day, Yu Shilian was watching the rain in the yard when Jia Zhang, the neighbor, approached and said, "There is a big family 2 blocks away from us who has sold their house. They have been selling furniture these days, and they sell miscellaneous items for money. Several women from our yard are going to watch the excitement. Are you going?" Yu Shilian picked up the rainwater and locked the door, and went with everyone to watch the excitement. She thought to herself, look at what's available and buy some pots and bowls. They still went late. The pots, bowls, ladles, and pots were left to be picked by others, with only a few cracked and broken bowls left. The furniture was also scattered, one piece of ocean. Yu Shilian walked back and forth 3 times, buying a bed, a table, 4 chairs, and a makeup box. She spent $12 and also spent a large sum of money to buy a pickled vegetable jar. She even built a large water tank and hired a car to bring it back to pay respects. Everyone in the yard said that Yu Shilian was a black sheep. Yu Shilian thought to herself, what do you know? These are all good things. As soon as Hidaching returned to the hospital at night, he heard people complaining incessantly, "Zhu, his father, go back and take a look. Your wife is too despicable. This wife should be properly trained." Hidaching chuckled and wanted me to beat her. You guys are watching the excitement and want to eat shit. Besides, I also need to be able to beat her. Wife, what did you buy? Let me take a look. Touching the table, this feels like home. Wife has really good eyesight. End of this chapter.